In the background, my team have been working in building the baddest Jeep, period, that I think Australia has ever seen.
It's over.
All right, pistons and rods. Let's go count. All right, guys, here it is, the episode that I think everybody's been waiting for. I've got so many comments on YouTube about what happened to the Jeep after the last time you saw it. Now, if you've been following Patriot games, you'll see behind me my Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. As you all know, we went to town on the suspension on this thing, put a 4-link in the thing, 3-inch lift, running on 40-inch tyres, DYNATRAC, Pro Rock 60 axles in it, 488 diff gears, and a blown HEMI. Now, you guys already know all about that. If you don't know about that, we'll chuck a link in here, go back to the episodes, have a look at the build where we did, I think, one of the biggest engineering feats that the company's ever done. And then I went and blew the thing up.
It's over.
Now, it's been about 6 months since anybody's seen the Jeep. We've been really busy with other projects. We've launched Patriot campers into the United States. We've launched Gen 2 here in Australia. This thing's kind of taken a back seat. But in the background, my team have been working in building the baddest Jeep, period, that I think Australia has ever seen. Now, I've taken a lot of influence from all of my time over in the United States. And the whole purpose of this thing was to build a truck that could go out and kick Christian's ass in the GU. We don't know if I've achieved that just yet, but before we show you whether that's actually the case, I'm gonna give you through a walk around on the full transformation that we have done on this Jeep Gladiator. So come with me, let's go and take a look around. So the biggest thing you're gonna notice is the standard Gladiator is now gone. Since you guys last saw it, it is completely changed. I'm gonna jump in here and say a couple of things. I'm stoked with how it turned out, but I'm really upset that I can't do what I wanted to do based on what they do in the United States. And what do I mean by that? Now, the front guards, we've obviously, in Australia, if any of you guys are watching from the US, we have to cover the full extent of the tyre. Now, we actually bought the guards from a company in the US called Hawk. When we brought them in, the guards were only covering half of the tyre. So Pedro's gone to town on modifying the guards. He's widened the guards right out to cover the front tyres. And that's something that he's done an amazing job. I think for what it is, it looks unreal, but it's made the front of the car. What I really wanted is those cut back, tuck little guards, big tyre poke at the front, like I'm rolling around in Utah, but unfortunately in Australia, that's just gonna be cop bait and this thing will get taken straight off the road. So that's a bit of the look in the front end. You'll love it, you'll hate it. I'm still kind of sitting on the fence with it, only because I really wanted that American rock crawler kind of look, which we just can't do here in Australia. The whole purpose of this truck, like all jokes aside with the banter that I have with my son, was really just to go and have some fun with the twins. You know, the twins are really into what I was into when I was that age. They're really into going out, beating up on their trucks, rock crawling and that. And I asked the team here if we could build a car that I can't break. Yet to be seen, but once again, this episode here is all about running you guys through the whole truck or the whole build or the vehicle or whatever you want to call it before we go and beat up on it. So stay tuned, because the very next episode that's coming after this is the Jeep Gladiator versus the GU Patrol, and that one is going to be really interesting. We're heading off to film that tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that episode. All right, first thing you're gonna notice, the new number plate, 64 HEMI. They actually came up on Facebook Marketplace. One of my buddies sent them across to me. Had to have them. Yes, we're running the 392, the 64 HEMI. We'll go into that a little bit later on. Off-road Animal front bar, which is holding the Warn Evo front winch, and also an Off-road Animal light bar, which is an option that you can get from Off-road Animal. Off-road animal here in Australia, if you follow Patriot games, that's really the only bar work that I'm putting on my vehicles now. They're just everything that these guys are coming up with, all the concepts and all their production manufacturing on front, rear bars, side steps. Just everything you put them on, they suit. Doesn't matter what brand of car you buy off-road animal. And they've got good options now as well. You can go fully hooped bull bars. You can go like the Predator or the Stealth style sort of bars, low mount bars like I've got fitted here. We've got massive recoveries points on the front. These are actually our headlights that are in the bar as well, again for ADRs, because it's on the 40s and the 3-inch lift and the thing's lifted so high. These actually now become our headlights. These are our high beams up at the top. Warn Evo winch really needs no introduction. Yeah, this is built to be a hardcore truck, and we thought about putting in, you know, a big Warn high mount or a giggle pin winch or something along those sorts of lines. Kind of figured I'll go out and use it. I'll see what we end up doing with it. Maybe I can convert it to a big high mount winch with the steel cable if we do get into some kind of more hardcore stuff. But at the moment, I think that's going to do everything that I need. Pretty cool feature of the off-road animal bar. You pull the pin and the plate folds up. You can see in behind here, Sabre winch hooks are the only winch hooks that I'm running now. This winch hook is actually designed for soft shackles. Again, you've been following us, we don't use anything else but soft recovery gear now. Soft shackles, typically speaking, we use a MaxTrax kit, and I've got the big Sabre fair lead as well. The fair leads have been designed obviously to limit the strain on your rope or the friction on your rope when you're pulling out your winch, putting your winch back in. I think they're a 60-61 aluminium, so you can get them in all different colors. You can see here I've got kind of the blend going on. Big bash plate underneath as well from Off-Road Animal. Of course, no introduction, GME whips, the only thing that we run. I've just got the little whip mounted on this, but I've got the extension in the back. So when we're going on the big touring trips, when we're out, you know, kind of long range sort of stuff in flat areas, I'll run the bigger whip. They just screw off. Once again, need no introduction. Moving around the side, I won't go through the whole suspension setup again, watch the first video, but I think like I said at the start, DYNATRAC Pro Rock 60s, 488 diff gears, got an 8-lug pattern, and I've changed out the rims. The wheels that I had on when we first built it, I got what I could get at the time, just to get the build done and get the compliance, but I never liked them, to be perfectly honest with you. Dirty Life DT1s with a road legal ability to change out to bead locks. So the DT1s, like a couple of the other Dirty Life models, they're a dual tech bead lock is what they're calling them. Now, fundamentally what it does is it gives you ability to mount the tyre in 2 different positions. So you can fit the tyre to a standard bead like you normally would, and then you bolt on a plastic rash ring on the front just for aesthetics, just for look. You're completely road legal. Then you can also have the actual bead lock rings where you mount the tyre in front of the lip like you would a bead lock, bolt the bead lock on, you've got a full set of bead locks. So you've got the ability to run them both ways. I think in the bronze, and I kind of tossed up a few times kind of what colours we'd go with it. Bronze with the red, to me, it's a no-brainer. They're like peas and carrots, you know? Bronze and red, they just go together. All the black details. Really, really happy. And I've also gone to a BFG tyre as well in the 40s. I'm not sure what tyre I'm actually going to run on this moving forward. I did try and get a set of Goodyear Wranglers, which Christian runs on his GU, because to me, I really, really liked that tyre, but I couldn't get them in a 40-inch, so ended up going back to the BFGs. Now coming to the front lighting, you can see lighting, I've gone absolutely ham on this thing. So again, during all of my trips to the United States, I've been to a lot of trade shows, been to SEMA, been to a lot of different lighting products. I'm kind of like really fascinated by these rigid lights. The rigid adapt, this is the first adapt that I've fitted. It's a 50-inch light bar. Extremely expensive, but like anything, you get what you pay for. This thing, I had a full demo at SEMA actually last year in the rigid booth, and I ended up ordering the 50-inch, and then I don't even know what they call these ones down here, but some little side lights as well. The good thing about the Adapt, what I love about the Adapt, it's got a controller on. You can control the whole spread, the whole beam of that light. So you can actually turn it from a full spread light. I've got a little controller there that I can adjust, and I can turn it into a pencil light as well. Even driving into work this morning, like I've never ever seen light come off any of my trucks like this before. I've been running the rigid light bars and spotties like on the TRX, but this thing here is just absolutely out of this world. And like I said, like anything, you get what you pay for. Bodyguard mounts, I bought these directly from the US. We didn't make any of these, so the Bodyguard A-pillar mounts, they give you the ability to mount the side lights, and we had to do some modifications at the top to get the rigid bar to fit, but we kind of knocked that up one afternoon. And I've got, of course, rock lights all the way underneath as well, not just for show mode. If you're going wheeling at night, you do a lot of wheeling at night, I suggest give it a go. Again, we want to use this for a little bit more sort of hardcore work than what we'd normally do on Patriot games. Moving down the side, Bodyguard rock sliders and also the Bodyguard sill protection plate. That was a really tough one for the boys to do because you have to drill into the body of a brand new Gladiator, put all the rib nuts in. But once again, I'm planning on using this thing for a lot more hardcore stuff than don't want to go out and beat up the TRX. Let's face it, the black truck's not the best rock crawler ever built. And the Mega 6 she's a big girl, but that thing's very, very capable. I think this thing's going to be off its head. So I wanted to try and protect it as best as I can, hence the reason that we did all the bar work on it. Which leads me into the back. Around the back, we've got massive big tube sliders that cover all the way back. They're actually bolted into the tow bar and bolted into the chassis rail at the front to protect the entire body. So I do plan on tipping this thing into ruts, bottoming it out on, on step ups, all that sort of stuff. Once again, I just didn't want to be really overly concerned about, doing any long-term damage to the car. I mean, realistically, this sort of stuff, everything unbolts off the Jeep, run it through our powder coating shop again, bolt it back on, this thing look brand new even after the most kind of hardcore trip. In the back here, the back of the P-Core toolbox, I've mounted an ARB twin compressor. I've got an air outlet here. I've got a pump up kit in here as well. But I've also got another really cool product that's installed inside of the Jeep, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, that actually couples up to the ARB twin compressor, which is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Moving down to, I think, one of the most important parts of the build of anything that's Patriot campers is what are we towing our products with? HEMI Reese. We actually developed the Gladiator bar with HEMI Reese, which was a real feather in the cap for my whole team here and Patriot campers. If you're an Australian, I don't think you've ever not had a HEMI Reese tow bar, but the X bars, it's kind of changed the way that you look at or think about tow bars, yeah? HEMI Reese are specifically designing the X bar to give the most amount of clearance of any bar on the market. So what they've really focused on, their engineering team, is tucking the thing up high, and they are built for four-wheel drivers. So you've got 3 rated massive recovery points. Obviously, if you're looking at buying an X bar, just jump on the website and have a look because you'll get all the specs on your load ratings. And the other thing that they've integrated is they've integrated the trailer plugs and integrated the Anderson plugs into their entire range as well. Now that might seem like a pretty simple thing, but I can tell you right now, there isn't one person who's watching this who's done serious off-roading towing something that hasn't either ripped out their trailer plug or their Anderson plug, which typically is screwed into the bottom of the tow bar. And again, it seems like a really incidental little thing, but it's these little details that they think about that can cause havoc on a trip. You lose your brake control or you lose your charge, in the right situation, that you're going to start running into problems. But what we've actually done is we've integrated also all of the bar work you can see here, bolted back into the structure of the tow bar. Obviously nothing modified, nothing fabricated, but we're getting a little bit more structural integrity out of all of the nudge bars. You can see at the back, I've got a Sabre recovery point for when I'm not towing. Again, this is for the use, designed for the use with soft shackles, so you can't damage the soft shackle, or you limit the ability to damage the soft shackle, which is another really cool bit from Sabre. Oh, and we got another red fair lead at the back, and obviously you can see there on the camera, you can see another 12,000 pound winch from Warn in the rear. Once again, I'm planning on really pushing this thing as hard as I can, and the ability to winch from the rear when it comes up is something that you need. You can see I've got rock lights all the way around as well. So these are my backup lights, and I've also got rock lights mounted underneath the car and off the side of the roof rack. So I've got like full 360 degrees of light at campsite or when we're wheeling hard, in the nights, which is pretty cool. I've got a water tank on board, obviously with the Peak tray, so that gives us the ability to carry water, which is always handy. That's about it for the rear, I think. Maybe we'll have a look at what we've done inside the tray. So I've got the removable sides. I can kind of just take them off and put them out the way. I might run them with or without the sides, depending on what I've got in there. You can see that we've really set this thing up for wheeling. So I've got a spare 40 on the back, which I've laid down nice and flat. I'm not planning on using the tray, and realistically the thing's so short I can't even chuck my dirt bike on the back, so that's not the right car for it. That's what the Ram's for. So that 40 on the back, we've got a spare wheel holder. I've got a Pro Eagle jack on the back, Pro Eagle toolkit. Obviously with the Gladiator as high as it is, the Pro Eagle jack and with the 40-inch tyres, that's definitely going to come in handy. We've got some opportunity to put some other mounts in here if there's anything else that I want to take with me. You can see I've got the rigid chase bar up on the back as well. Really, it's just for the cool factor, to be perfectly honest with you. I am planning on installing one of these chase bars on my TRX, and that will be very purposeful. When I'm out pre-running, we've got the blue flashing dust lights, which is like a compliance thing here when you're off-road racing in Australia. The light bar has got the ability for so much different functionality. It does indicators, does stop lights. You can go into different modes. You can go into emergency mode with it. There's quite a few different setups. I think for the right application, that's a real serious safety bit of gear. And to be honest with you, the thing just looks badass, looks super cool. Dometic CFX 55 in the back with the ice machine in there. End of a hard day wheeling, bottle of rum comes out, ice tray comes out, cold can of Coke comes out, and then you know you're having a good time, and then me and the twins can talk smack about who out-wheeled who at the end of the day. So powering the fridge and all of our accessories, of course, RedArc Go Block. Needs no introduction. I have this cradle. I literally last night, I think I've said in another video and people won't believe me, but if you have a look at all the scratches and the bumps and bruises all over this thing, this one here now, there's a cradle in my TRX, I've got a cradle in my little tinny, I've got a cradle in my big tinny, and this thing here just goes around, moves around everywhere that I need it to go. So I literally pulled it out of the garage last night and dropped it in knowing that we were filming today, and we just powered all this up because the car was literally just finished. Fire extinguisher. I've seen a lot of bad things happen in the past year when it comes to fire and cars. So every build that I do from now on is always going to have a fire extinguisher installed. Just a good safety thing. You can see the lights here on the side. So these are more just camp lights. They're controlled manually from here. So you can see up the top, I've fitted half of a roof rack. I didn't want to go with a full-size roof rack because the Jeep has the ability, I can remove the entire front roof and I can take all the doors off. I don't think that I'm the type of guy that's going to go driving around with no doors on, but I'll definitely take the roof off every now and again. So I didn't want to go a full rack, and really with the RedArc Go Block, being that it's lithium powered and it's in the cradle, it's connected to DC power straight off the engine. When the engine's running, the Go Block's charging. I don't even need to mount a solar panel on this thing again. That's what the camper trailer's for. So we're really focusing on builds moving forward that the camper trailer or the Patriot product we're towing does what it's designed to do, and we want to focus more on what the cars are designed to do. I think canopies now, and I can say this because I built canopies for a long time, they are just getting wild. They're getting out of control. The weights that people are putting into canopies now and loading them up to be a caravan or replace a camper trailer, I think it's just getting crazy now. You just completely lose all the ability of your four-wheel drive when you go and put a 1-ton product on the back of it, and even the big American trucks. So we're really focusing now on probably more agile, dual-purpose vehicles rather than a purpose-built vehicle like the black truck, for example. So I want to get the most out of all of our builds now and have the ability to daily drive them and all the rest of it. Before I go into the interior, I said before I wanted to show you something really cool, and this was a product that I picked up from Brad at Trail Recon, put me onto these guys. Now, this is the Kraken tyre inflation system. Generally speaking, filling 40-inch tyres sucks. With this system here, it doesn't suck at all because you use the factory tyre pressure monitor systems. So I won't do all 4 wheels, but you can see here it's a bit of an octopus, right? If I take off here, plug this in and plug one into each wheel. Now what you do is the trick is, you leave the ignition on. Actually, what kind of fitting is that? That's a very American, I haven't used it yet. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So you can see we're fitted there now. That's the first time I've ever actually installed it. But what you do is you run one of these to each 4 of the tyres, hit the air compressor, right? I can preset on the dash with the U-Connect in the Jeep, I can preset it to sound the engine horn at a certain tyre pressure. So I can say at 40 pounds, for example, I want you to sound the horn. So start the air compressor, go and do whatever I have to do. When the tyre, the standard tyre inflation sensors inside the tyre pick up that we're at 40 pounds, it'll beep the horn, you come over, switch your compressor off, job done, wind this back up. Definitely saves you back from standing here and filling 40-inch tyres, which is something that I don't want to do. I think it's a really cool bit of kit. And I'll also say right now, the only thing I'm really disappointed I don't have for the weekend is the Apex Rapid Tyre Deflators that you would have seen on Christian's GU. I've just got the set turn up yesterday. Before I head off tomorrow, I might run down and get them fitted. They're a rapid deflation. They've got a little, like a ratchet like this inbuilt into them. You just pop that there and they just start dumping air. So really cool bit of gear. And again, when you got 4 40-inch tyres to inflate and deflate, I'm all about saving time.
Done.
All right, before we go to the interior, let's see it again. This thing's so tall. Let's have another look. Let's have a run through, because people are actually going to wonder, and we're just talking about, people are going to wonder what actually went on with why we blew it up. We actually did find out that the car leaned out, and we couldn't figure out why it leaned out. Now, it turns out Jeep in the USA are having some warranty issues at the moment. When the fuel tanks get low, the pickup's on the wrong side of, or I think it's on the wrong side of the tank. I think that's actually the issue. And the pickup won't pull fuel from the tank, and you're getting people that are actually leaning out their standard gas engines, petrol engines in the States. That's exactly what happened here. So we were very low on fuel. You would have seen in the episode, I was yelling at one of the boys to put some fuel in it, but then I kind of got a bit hot-headed. I just wanted to do a skid, and I said, mate, that's enough. You put about 10 litres in. When we were doing the circles, yeah, the pickup just sucked air, the thing leaned out, detonated, and blew holes in like 4 of the pistons. I think we might have some footage that we can cut back to there. So, a couple of things that went wrong there. Obviously, I didn't have enough fuel in the tank. There was a bit of an issue with it. Now I know, do not run the blown HEMI under 1/4 of a fuel tank. Don't do that again, right? And yes, Ken, I listened, yeah, I'm listening. If the motor pops again, I'm taking 0 responsibility for it if there's fuel in the tank. If there's not fuel in the tank, I'll put some fuel in the tank before I drop it back down to High Torque. But all jokes aside, boys, team at High Torque, thanks so much. It was kind of no mucking around. Set of pistons were ordered, set of rods were ordered. We put 4Gs in the thing now. We can screw a lot more boost into it. But once again, Kent being a really good mate of mine, knowing who I am, he wouldn't do that. He said, you need to go out and use it, enjoy the car. Once you've enjoyed the car, then we'll turn the power up. So I can't even tell you right now what it's making. It's probably making similar to what you saw in the last video. But what I can tell you is I can stand on the thing in 3rd gear and fry the 40s in the back, which is pretty badass. At some stage, I'll put the lockers in, put the thing in low range and 4-wheel drive once I get out and use it a little bit, and we'll cut some helis in the Gladiator. That'll come at you real soon. Couple of big things that we fitted in the engine bay. Obviously, we've got the Harrop 2650 supercharger, Australian made, Australian designed. Really the only product that I would fit on anything. One thing that I'm lacking, I still don't have a snorkel fitted yet, but we're working on that. So keep an eye on social media, because that'll be happening real soon with the sealed airbox. The other big one that we did, we were having huge cooling problems with it. And this is legitimate. We've gone and had PWR design us a radiator that you can see right here, specifically for the Gladiator. At idle, at the traffic lights, last time I was driving it, I'd sit at the lights. If I'd idle for more than 30 seconds, the engine temp would go up to about 106. I had to shut it down. I had this thing idling in my driveway at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, sitting in the sun with the thermos running, and it did not go over 82 degrees. So we've seen a circa 25 degree temperature drop just from fitting that radiator, which is ensure I'm going to preserve it. 2 other modifications that we've actually done. Now I'm looking at it, it's all kind of coming back to me. Mega Life lithium start battery. Again, if you've been watching Patriot games, I've been running the Mega Lifes in the race cars. So I've been doing some testing with these guys in the trophy truck, also in the kids' 10 car. The big advantage of this thing here is, as far as I'm aware, I think it's the only lithium battery that's rated with cranking amps for starter motors in Australia. I could be wrong on that. But the biggest thing that I find with the Mega Life, and if I can find the button, I will show you. I just need to remember where it is. What this little button does at the back is, if you ever drain your battery for whatever reason, you push this little button here, see the blue light comes on? That engages the last 2 cells. So basically, it's an inbuilt jump pack, yeah? So if you leave that button off, like it's off right now, I can run that battery to dead flat, push the button, and it's like having a jumper pack on board. It'll have enough cranking amps to restart the motor, alternator goes, charge starts going back in, job done. Really, really cool bit of kit. Obviously, lithium, much, much lighter. And you've got no issues with voltage draw as well. So if you're running big lights like I am, I'll get that full 14.4 volts like I would in a camper trailer, that all the lights will run at 100%. They won't start dropping out LEDs and all the rest of it. I think that's another thing to come for the off-road touring market. I think you're going to see a lot more of this sort of action happening. Check out Mega Life, really, really cool bit of kit. And I've been running them for a fair time now. The other really cool thing that you can't really see, but you can see I've got this gauge on here. A product that I came across from actually a buddy of mine here, Brad from OVS 4-wheel drive. Check him out on Instagram because he's bringing some badass stuff in here. Was Apex Designs steering booster kit for the JL. Now, for the 40s, and especially with the big axles, the one thing that we just cannot resolve right now is hydraulic steering, because the companies who produce the hydraulic steering for the Jeeps don't make them for right-hand drive, and there's big changes to the steering box, so we can't get one to fit. So I was having a chat with Brad. Apex Designs offer it's a steering booster kit. I can't tell you exactly how it works, but what it does, it's got a little steering cooler, and it modifies the blow-off valve in the steering somehow and increases the power of the standard factory steering by like 40% or something like that. I was having really big problems, especially when locked, but even still doing a tight turn in the car park on the 40s. The steering was like I had no power steering, like I really had to wrench on the thing. And when we took this thing out to the springs for a little bit of a shakedown, especially when I had the front locker in, I couldn't turn the front wheel. So he said, mate, give this thing a go. I think they rate them for up to a 37 or 38-inch tyre. They say that they work. I put them on this set of 40s, and night and day difference. Still not as good as what a hydraulic kit would be, especially when I'm locked. But if you're running a Jeep on bigger tyres and want a quick, easy solution, check them out from Apex Designs, because it's made a huge difference on my Gladiator. Something that I'm really, really happy with. But like I said, I think if I want the ultimate performance when it comes to being locked in the front on rock or whatever, at some stage we're going to have to go to hydraulic steering. But this has definitely got me out of trouble for now. So that's about it for the engine bay and what we've done in there. Again, if you want to see more details on the HEMI conversion, the Harrop supercharger, go back to our first episodes on when we built the Jeep, because all of the details in there if you've seen this thing for the first time. Let's jump in the interior. Been a while since I've done one of these kind of backseat reviews, but back of the Jeep Gladiator, I would compare it to any dual cab ute. It's probably the same in the back here as a Isuzu D-Max or a Ford Ranger or whatever. There's enough room. It's not the best tourer if you got kids in, but pretty good. The fit and finish on all the Jeeps, it's not what you think they are. I know in Australia we got this stigma about Jeeps, but it's pretty comfy. Got the rest in the back. Stereo absolutely pumps. Like I said, that front roof can come off. pockets and power mirrors and cup holders, and you got 6 storage underneath here as well. So there's a big storage box that sits underneath here that I've got all of my little bits and pieces in. So yeah, that's a little bit on the back seat. Well, I'll be damned. Look at this. My camera team just told me there's a Bluetooth speaker that comes standard in the back of the Gladiator. I didn't even know that. So you can get your little beats going when you're at camp. That's actually really clever. Wasn't Patriot camps have one of these? Does it float? Does it float? I don't know, maybe okay, on the next episode of Patriot Games, Justin throws his Jeep speaker into the river and it doesn't float. I don't know how it goes back in, but, oh, here we go. Dude, that's badass. That's really clever. There you go, you guys know some stuff. Oh, I'll show you this while I'm at it. Look at this. This is really cool. You got these storage boxes underneath, so you can see I've got my winch remotes, all that sort of stuff, pair of gloves, tyre deflator, sockets, spare supercharger belt. I've already blown 2 of those off, but Kent told me that I'm not allowed to drive it the way I used to drive it. Yeah, anything under here, like a ram? No. Now I'm looking for cool stuff I didn't even know. All right, I'm gonna keep looking. All right, getting into the Gladiator. For my little ass, I definitely need amp research side steps, but again, this is an off-road car. Now, let me run you through just a couple of the standard things. You know this is a Mopar vehicle because the iConnect, the switches, the buttons, the steering wheel controls, honestly, it's like jumping into mini Ram. That's what it feels like. They definitely come from the same family. Everything feels very Ram, and when I jump in this thing, it is like really intuitive, like getting in and out of my new 2500 or Sarah's TRX. Yep, Sarah's TRX. I just gave Sarah the TRX, but that's for another video. Okay, let me run you through the modifications that I've made. GME XRS, again, watch one of my videos. Please, guys, bring them to the United States because radios in the US, I'm sorry guys in the US, I love everything about your country, but your radios suck. These are just absolutely unbelievable for so many different reasons. Check out a video. If you don't install one of these into your touring vehicle, you just don't know what's up. The newest product that I've got installed actually just arrived last week. GME have just launched these to market. It's the GME XRS BT1, they're calling it. It's a Bluetooth module. I haven't used it yet. I'm going to use it this weekend when we go out, but it's a Bluetooth push-to-talk. So it connects directly to my XRS. We've got a little microphone up here that we've just run down the pillar and plugged in, and it's just a push-to-talk. Now it comes on this steering wheel clamp, so you can position it wherever. So instead of having to pick up the radio now, I can just push the talk and I'll hear everything coming through the microphone. The good thing about this button is it just unwinds out of this holder. The other thing you can do, which I might end up doing, is you can put the button in, kind of stick it in any location that you like. I was even kind of thinking if this annoys me being here, I'm just going to put the button there. I don't even have to look or grab for the radio. Bluetooth connects to pretty much any audio device. So let's say, for example, like if we're in Bluetooth range and I have a speaker back at camp, I can hear exactly what's going on the radio, which I think is really cool, and that will come in handy. So maybe check out that bit of gear. I've got up the front 67 designs. Brad from Trail Recon actually put me onto this gear here. It's a little rail, like a single extrusion that sits up the top, that I've got all of these different mounts. Now, when we're out filming Patriot Games for you guys, I'll run my in-car camera off this arm, my forward-facing off this arm. I've got an aluminium phone holder there as well, so my iPhone drops into there. The things that are available for Jeeps just off the shelf in the States are crazy. You can get mounts for the Jesus bar and all sorts of different stuff. I've got a spare arm there. We got them in carbon fiber, so I can kind of mount whatever I want if I wanted to mount another handheld radio or whatever. GME, baby. That's on the Truckers channel. Was he talking to me, maybe? We are. The highway is literally just behind Patriot HQ there, so we pick up all the truckies. That's how truckies in Australia talk. That was his way of saying g'day, yeah? Maybe. Let me show you this. Check this out. This is the coolest thing that we've done. I'll turn it this way. So, Red Vision, yeah? Running the entire Jeep off the new TVMS Rogue. So I've got a Rogue mounted behind the back seat. massive shout out to the crew at Helm Wiring wired this entire truck. So the boys from Helm Wiring come over when the Gladiator was all completed, everything was mounted, and they engineered a full standalone wiring harness for this vehicle and mounted the TVMS Rogue in the back. Now I've got the Rogue, we haven't actually finished setting up the display yet because I'm not 100% sure what I want. I might even hook up the water sensor from the tank in the back of the P-Core tray. So maybe just disregard this at the moment because with the TVMS application, there's multiple different setups and I still haven't quite decided on which way I want to go with it. But you can see I've got all my soft key switches here for absolutely everything. There goes my air compressor, front lights, side lights. If I go down a page, my lockers are now wired in here. So I've got my front locker and my rear locker. That's my rear light bar. And when I get to camp, let's say for example, I've got everything turned on. When I get to camp, everything off, double click, that's it. Whole car is shut down. And we've now got that wired to ignition as well. So when I hit the ignition on the car, the TVMS will shut down absolutely everything unless I come back and physically turn everything back on. So again, to the crew at Helm Wiring, thanks a million, guys. It's a badass setup. Now going back on the stuff that's available for Jeeps, I've put in this American Adventure Labs molly panel overhead, and once again, I haven't quite figured out what I'm gonna hang off it. I actually ran into these guys at Overland Expo West, and these guys build badass sheet metal gear, and specifically molly panel. They do door card replacements inside of your tub liner for your ute. They did this amazing little fold down kitchen, tailgate kitchen, which that's the thing that caught my eye and why I went onto their booth. And yeah, just legends, like really, really cool guys. So I'm gonna kind of figure it out. I've got a little spotters radio mounted up here, but the good thing about this is you've still got the ability to pull the roof off, and you can see it's quite narrow here and quite narrow through here, and I think they've really thought about that design there. But going back to it, that's just some of the stuff that's available. Probably the only other thing I haven't shown you is the rigid controller here for the adapt bar. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can see I'm changing the beam of the light. We've obviously got the lights on in the showroom, but you can see the beam of the light changing on the wall there, which I'm really happy with it. A lot of people have asked me actually, how does this thing drive? Unbelievable, and seriously, it drives unbelievable. It just drives like a lifted truck with absolute shitload of power. That's the only way I can describe it. Even on the 40s, it drives good, it stops good. The brakes on the DYNATRACs are unreal. I'm really, really happy with it. Is it a touring car? Probably not. I think fuel consumption is going to be a big problem with this thing moving forward, but we'll see. Time will tell. Will it be reliable enough? Who knows? I mean, the extent of the build, we're going to have a lot of teething problems over the next few trips. That's guaranteed. I might even, for this weekend's trip, I might even take the 2500 up with the flat deck, you know, just preempting that something's going to go wrong, because always on a build this big, something goes wrong. It's just the way it is. But I'm really hoping that we can really show you guys what this thing's all about. And I think me and Christian specifically in the GU, I think we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. You know, the build that he's done with Superior and everybody else that got involved with his build, that thing is going to be the most capable car in the fleet. There's no doubt. But I don't think there's a sacrifice for horsepower either. So we'll watch him with his reductions walk stuff, and he'll do it quite easily. And if we can't in the Jeep, we'll use the horsepower. But you know, on the 40-inch tyres, I think I've got a massive advantage there as well. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, interior done. Jeep done. Everyone's happy, not happy? Put in the comments. What do you like? What don't you like about the Patriot hairdresser Jeep build? You know, there's a stigma here in Australia when it comes to Jeeps, but I tell you guys, Australia, yeah, I don't think you guys really have a grip on what these cars are really capable of. Obviously, this is a massive build, but even in their standard form, you know, a JL Rubicon straight out of the showroom will outwheel any other vehicle that you can buy from a showroom, and that's just guaranteed. That's just the way it is. You look at what they're doing in the US with these things, the capabilities of these cars are just unreal, and I'm so glad that I finally got one going all the way back to the Moab days when I fell in love with the Jeeps. Now I'm glad I have one, and I'm gonna go out and enjoy it with my boys. Stay tuned for the next episode. The Jeep versus the GU. Who's gonna win the battle? Who we going for here? I'm sitting on the fence, yeah? If my son wins, I still win. And if the Jeep wins, I win more. So stay tuned. It's going to be an epic episode. I'm not telling you where we're going, but one of the most iconic four-wheel driving destinations in Australia. And it's 2 hours from Patriot HQ. We'll see you there.